Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zero. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, ihatecritics.com, Everyone's a Critic podcast.com. I don't know, like, I've had a bunch of people ask me what our website is now. Whenever I go to ihatecritics.net, it still pops up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everybody else is having that issue. So really it all points to a website. It's Everyone's a Critic podcast.libsyn.com, I believe is what it is. But all those addresses point to that link. So hopefully there shouldn't be an issue there.
I haven't had an issue the last few times I went there, so.
Yeah, good. But I've had other people say it too, so I don't know what's going on. It's just forwarding. Sometimes on the phone, maybe it works differently. I don't know. But just that's what's going on there. We simplified.
We probably should know these things, but
we're busy people.
Exactly.
We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. And another thing, Twitter and Facebook, they don't like interact anymore, so I don't know, it's weird. We have to double post, and I'm lazy, so hopefully I'm doing a good enough job. And then YouTube, we're on YouTube. Subscribe to the show there. Click on the bell for notifications. And Alexa, Spotify, all the other ones, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe there as well. Rate and review the show. Anything you can do to help the algorithm that changes every day will help us get noticed as all these celebrities decide to start doing podcasts during the pandemic. It made me shut down the music one altogether because it was just like, I can't keep up. Every rock star has a podcast now. There's nothing I can. No one cares about me. But let's get into this week. We'll start with a little sad news. We've had more deaths. Alan Parker and Wilford Brimley both passed away over the last couple days.
Yeah, the Alan Parker, of course, we know him just fairly recently from the director of The Wall, which was I think for me that's the best thing he ever did. I mean, I know he's done a lot of other things. I know he had a lengthy career, but for me, when it comes to Alan Parker, I think The Wall. And that could be recency bias as well, but I really had a great experience watching that movie. Midnight Express is, quite good. I have not seen it in a while, and I've really never seen what other people see in that movie in terms of just being like one of the great movies of all time. And Mississippi Burning is good, straightforward, very a pleasing film, but again, for me, he made one of the worst movies ever made as well. The Life of David Gale with Kevin Spacey, which sadly was his final movie. Just a god-awful piece of crap that was. But Angel Heart, too, is another one that we had some fun with on this show. But, The Wall, I think, really does stand out as one truly great film.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with having one best movie. Everybody has a best movie, so it's not an insult. Back to Angel Heart, though, and not to get away from Wilford Brimley or Alan Parker for that matter, but what's going on with De Niro and Mickey Rourke? I've just kind of casually seen headlines where I don't know if De Niro's really participating, but Mickey Rourke is just tearing them apart right and left. And it stems
there was
back
this story that came out recently, and I don't know why this came out. I don't know why anybody thought this was news, but somebody said that Robert De Niro is only going to make $3.7 million this year, and it's like, okay, why is that news?
How long will it take me to make that?
Right?
I won't.
Does he have a habit of making a great deal more money than that per year? Or I have no idea. It's weird, but people are posting that story oh my God, Robert De Niro only made $3.7 million this year, and I don't know if Mickey Rourke saw that and started to just drag De Niro for allowing his finances to be out there or something. I don't know. Maybe De Niro, I didn't read the story because I thought it was so stupid, but maybe De Niro said he was maybe they actually asked him about it. He said, well, I'm only making this much money this year.
I have a hard time believing that's why. But you're right. I didn't read it either. I know Mickey Rourke posted something on Instagram about it and I didn't even know about, this is the first I'm hearing of the money part of it.
Yeah.
It had something to do going back to the Angel Heart days. De Niro said something that made Mickey Rourke feel lesser. But I don't know.
I mean, Mickey's got a fragile ego already, so.
Yeah, and Angel Heart, I loved it as a kid because, I mean, when you're younger, it is impressive what happens there. When you're older, it's a little bit more cheesy. Like Louis Cypher, I didn't even think that was Lucifer when I'm, 13, 14. But as soon as I have half a brain, it's just like, okay. Anyway.
It's funny though that Lisa Bonet was in the news this week. People on Twitter were freaking out because she posted a picture of her current husband, Jason Momoa, with her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz. And people were like, what? They're in the same place at the same time? Yeah, grown adults can do stuff like that.
I've seen like family pictures with both of them in them.
Yeah.
Whatever. People are dumb. And then Wilford Brimley, I don't want to make jokes. I mean, it's sad, but I thought he was already dead, and I feel like in 2 years we're going to find out again that he died. And
it's not funny, but it is quite funny. The bizarre place that Wilford Brimley holds in our culture. I mean, I heard this like decades ago when he was doing these diabetes commercials, and I had no idea that so many other people had clocked that and like kept that in the back of their head, and just that became who he was. And then like South Park picks him up, and like The Simpsons, just people referencing Wilford Brimley, and it got weird. Like it really got weird. Like I don't know, was it Family Guy or was it South Park that just turned him into this bizarre character? I don't know.
I bet it's a combination of the two. Yeah, and then you throw the Quaker Oats.
The Dollop has a whole. They went on a whole rant about Wilford Brimley for whatever reason. It just became this character on that show. It's bizarre, but his place in popular culture is assured. I mean, he'll never be forgotten, whether it's for The Thing or Cocoon or just diabetes.
But the way he says it is like diabetes or whatever.
Diabetes.
And he's just one of those guys that always, even at like 40, he looked 65.
Yeah.
But even at 85, he looked 65. I mean, it just
I
always
was shocked at when I found out he wasn't like, when I watched him on TV years ago, he was on some kind of family hour-long show. I can't remember the name of it now, where I just thought he was 80 then. Like I thought
he was our age now. But wasn't he like in his 40s or in Cocoon or something like that?
It could very well be. I'm not honestly. I mean, he died at 85, which I thought he was much older than that.
So he was in his 50s, playing a 60-something-year-old. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope people laugh at this. At least my friends, because I'm not going to be famous when I die. I don't mind jokes. I'm not meaning to be mean. It's funny, and he's kind of created this lane in pop culture unintentionally. But
yeah, I mean, when people think of if you die and when people think of you, they smile. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and neither one of the coronavirus, I don't believe. So that's another.
Yeah, that is good.
Let's move on to our new movie this week, singular. Yes, God, yes.
Yes, God, yes. This is a quite a fun little movie. Just kind of came out of nowhere for me. I had no idea this movie was even existed until this week. But it's a really fun new comedy. The director is a young lady named Karen Maine, who just is a first time director, rather ingenious writer as well, and she came up with this story about a young girl in the early 2000s who is a Catholic school student. She's just begun to kind of discover herself, and she's starting to think about things about her body, and there ends up being this rumor about her at school. Somebody made up this rumor about her doing something sexually that she has no idea what it is, but the fascination leads her to try and figure it out. And in so doing, she stumbles across an AOL chat room. And I love the way they layer in the time frame of this movie, because nobody ever had to say what year it is. Nothing flashes up on the screen to say it's 2000 this or that. It just you'll figure it out via the signifiers like AOL chat rooms or her Nokia phone. I thought that's really cool. Like, that's just allowing the audience to come along on that, and kind of I think that type of thing draws you in more than just the type of dialogue that just tells you what's happening. But she's a little bit scared about her desire to touch herself, so she ends up going to this retreat with her fellow Catholic school students, and there she kind of stumbles over a lot of hypocrisy. Like, the leaders of the group are going to have sex, or one of them's masturbating in his office. Like, and she finds the kind of this hypocrisy about God and touching yourself and pleasure, and then the idea that everybody does it. It kind of breaks her a little bit emotionally for a little bit, and she ends up being like the more mature and thoughtful character than anybody else in the movie. Everybody else is just kind of either stunted or hypocritical. And I find that this movie has such a unique approach to that, because it sounds like it would be hardcore, or not hardcore, but like R-rated or something, and it doesn't approach it that way. It's a very innocent exploration of something that most people treat with indelicacy.
That's cool. I watched the trailer, and I tried to get my wife to watch it, and we ended up watching something else, which I'll tell you about when we're done. I thought it looked interesting, but not necessarily interesting enough to pay for, if that makes sense. If it popped on Netflix or something like that, I might watch it. I don't know. We only get one movie a week, and then you got to convince. You don't only get one movie a week, but when you got to convince your spouse to watch it too, it didn't grab her, but it did look. Yeah. I mean, I know what they were accusing her of based on the trailer. They didn't hide it. I was tossing the salad. She didn't know what that was. But it looked neat. It looked fun, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell if it was fun enough to spend $3.99 on. Is it?
I would say it is. I would say this is that fun. I think this movie, as slight as it is in terms of length and in terms of some of the characters being a little underwritten, this is a really interesting movie because it asks interesting questions, and it takes on a topic like, religious hypocrisy has been a topic in many different movies over the years, but this one is very. It takes a different approach to it, because it doesn't judge even the characters who are being hypocrites. It doesn't really judge them. It just demonstrates their humanity, and it demonstrates the humanity of all these characters, and yet while embodying also the difficulties in trying to rationalize God and belief in a higher power and what you think that higher power actually thinks of you.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I mean, is it rated R? If it is, it's not a hard R, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's
the
not
subject
a hard
matter.
R. I'm not sure exactly. I don't see where the rating is on here, but
the subject matter could warrant it, but it isn't. It doesn't look like obscene, American Pie or anything like that.
There's a couple of nude scenes, so I'm imagining there's a thing here. Not her. She's only 16. She doesn't have none of that. But this movie does not This movie does not objectify her in any way. Natalia Dyer is the star. She's from Stranger Things, and while we see a little bit of what she's trying to do or what her intentions are, the movie does not go anywhere near objectifying her.
So at no point it's ever weird. Like, I mean, I've only saw the trailer. I didn't know she was 16 until just now. Obviously, I can't even remember what she looks like. I didn't watch Stranger Things, so I just watched the trailer.
It's uncomfortable, maybe, but at time. But I mean, it's nothing there's nothing explicit.
Good. No, I just had an experience with the other movie I watched that happened that I watched when I was supposed to be watching this. Was that new Kevin Bacon movie, the You Should Have Never Left, or whatever the hell it's called. Right off the bat in the movie, oh my God, what's her name?
Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried plays an actress, and Kevin Bacon is her much older husband, and he can't get on the close set. He can just hear her moaning, and she's going through a sex scene, and
right.
then they go back to the car, and she's complaining about the sex scene and how the director's just a pervert who wants to see her naked. And then they have a sex scene in the movie. It was just really weird that, I mean, she's not naked in it, so I'm not, I mean, so there isn't that, but it was still, there were a couple times where they definitely use, her as, sexual images and whatnot.
Yeah. From
behind or whatever, but it was just a really awkward thing to have in your movie, calling another director creepy, and then, or a fake director creepy, and then you go and kind of do what that director did. It took me out of the movie, and from then on out, it was just like at some point Kevin Bacon's fighting Kevin Bacon. I'm just like, whatever.
What?
I fell asleep and I woke up and he's fighting himself. So I think it's kind of a Shining type thing, only really poorly done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he can't leave the house and she has to leave. It was really, I woke up at the very end.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to do to review it. Sounds like I should have saw. Yes, God, yes.
I've heard terrible things about that movie, so I'm not, and I'm not gonna. They didn't give it to me for free, so I'm not gonna bother with that.
And he didn't look invested whatsoever. Like he was just like, okay, this might make it to the theaters. Oh wait, no theaters. It might have. It's the type of movie that could have gone and bombed. I mean, I can see it going either way. But he did not look invested at all, so I can't be mad at him.
I've been mad at this movie ever since I saw the first trailer. I'm like, wait, is he her dad? No.
I make that joke a lot. That when he walks onto the set, or tries to get on the set, that's what they asked. But then it turns out he's got a reputation, and they don't tell you what their reputation is because that's part of the twist. And then I fell asleep, so I don't really know how that reputation played into it. But at some point, he's fighting himself because I think he's a ghost trapped in the house or something like that. Yeah.
This is like some kind of indication of his impotence or something.
That would have been a better movie. Maybe it was there and I fell asleep for it. Maybe it really was good when I was sleeping.
Yeah.
And I just missed I was just too weirded out when he was fighting himself. And maybe I'm even wrong. I just thought I saw two Kevin Bacons. Because you know how you're weird when you're sleeping and you're not. But he didn't leave the house at the end. It's very Shining, like, inspired, but not like. Like's not the right word. Just inspired by and massively failed.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event for the linear, legitimate, and universally recognized, undisputed classic.
The Third Man.
The Third Man. This is Carol Reed, the director of a movie with Joseph Cotten and Orson Welles. And this is a very good movie, a very, very good movie about an American Western author who arrives in Vienna to work for a friend of his, Harry Lime, played by Orson Welles, only to find that Harry has died when he arrives. The first thing he finds out, even before he's set his bags down, he finds out that his buddy is dead. He even attends his funeral, and there he meets Calloway, a British soldier, or British investigator who has been looking into Harry Lime and Harry Lime's criminal behavior. This sets Holly off because he's looking at his buddy like a criminal, and he doesn't want him to, and he decides to investigate Harry's death himself. He meets Harry's girlfriend. They begin to talk and spend time together and investigate what happened to Harry. And then there's a twist, and then we're to the end. This movie is known for its incredible cinematography, just gorgeous black and white photography, and all these amazing Dutch angles that aren't just there to be Dutch angles. They're like intended to keep you off balance. It's directed specifically to put you in the mindset of Holly Martin's, and his mindset is completely off balance. He has absolutely no tether in this. He was going there to stay with his friend, and now he's got nothing and no one, and he's got no money, and he can't speak the language, and his best friend is dead, and he's got to try and figure out how he died, and he just kind of lucks into a way to be able to even stay in Vienna. And the way that plays out, and the incredible reveal of the twist is just absolutely remarkable. I get drawn into this movie so many times when I watch it, just so many different times. It just brings me in and brings me in a little bit closer. And then you get to the end, and this brilliant chase scene at the end where one of our characters is in the sewers of Vienna, and he's surrounded on all sides, and he's trying to get away, and there are all these voices coming from everywhere. And the way that they play the sound in that scene is so spectacular. It's as if the voices themselves are specters that are chasing him and holding him in place and trying to kill him. I adore this movie. I've always adored this movie from the first time I saw it. The incredible zither score is just spectacular. It's just it's such a weird instrument and such a strange sound, and to have that sound be the sound to a noir is so different than every other noir, because it's almost playful. No matter how you play the zither, it almost comes off as playful, even as we're in this rather serious situation that everybody is taking rather seriously, because the man is supposedly dead and his friend is trying to solve his murder. I like I said, I adore this movie.
I had a horrible experience with this movie, and let me tell you why. And I think you'll appreciate this.
Right.
I had to watch this on an iPad while I was working because it was end of month, and I have to close all their books. And I wanted to watch more of it than I was able. I could tell the cinematography was fantastic. I could, with the limited volume I have on an iPad,
right?
I could tell the sound was great. It was frustrating that I couldn't get a better experience watching this movie because I could tell how good it was. I followed it, I watched it, but I didn't. I just followed it on the surface, for the most part. The story, which is great in and of itself. But it's one of those where I will definitely be revisiting. It is. I'd never heard of this movie till last week, and then I don't know. I was able. The reveal, even on an iPad, was fantastic. The way that was shot and the way it came out of the shadow. I don't know. It was.
That little look on his face is it's just epic. It's just so great.
And it's not even, it's a twist, but the movie just goes in a different direction from there. It's like all of a sudden you're doing one thing and then it just turns on a dime, and all the characters, all their motivations change. Everything it's a different movie from that point out, more so than like an M. Night Shyamalan movie or whatever. That's just more of like, bang, look at this, and then the movie ends. This is more of now you got a lot more movie left, and it's just interesting. And then another thing I think is this would never work today for a couple different reasons. One, there's no studio that would know how to let a director make this movie, first of all. And then, I don't know. I think we've seen too many bad movies that we wouldn't be able to appreciate it for what it is, made by someone in 2020. So I don't know. It's a movie. It is. I can't wait to watch it again on a nice big screen with proper sound. It was really, really impressive, just from what I got to see of it.
Do you know anything about the zither?
No. Not really. I've heard of it.
I never knew anything about it. I was trying to figure out, like, how do you play that? How do you even play something with all those strings? And it's awesome. Like, I watched a couple of videos on YouTube. It was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a crazy sound. It really adds to this movie. That unique sound that you don't hear a lot. And yeah. But again, I lose a little bit with iPad sound. It wasn't plugging in speakers or anything. So it was just really like, sometimes you can do that with a classic. This is so much more than the story, which the story in and of itself is great. But there's so much more to this, that the look matters so much more, and the sound matters, and it's one of those movies where I get why you called it one of the best movies of all time last week. It's just one of those special moments where you can, like what Fincher does sometimes, or Ari Aster, when every element of the movie matters and it draws you in for some way or another. Like it'd be like watching Midsummer on an iPad in some ways. And so that's why I say it was a horrible experience, because I know this is one of those movies when I go back and watch it again, kind of like Vertigo or something like that, where every time I watch it, I like it a little more, and it's going to demand a rewatch. It's that good.
What did you catch Orson Welles' little speech near the end? The little speech he gives about how strife and like war and terror and sadness breeds great art, whereas Switzerland had 500 years of peace and prosperity and brotherhood, and what did they produce? The cuckoo clock.
Yeah.
There is such a dark truth to that.
I know.
I really want the Swiss part, with the peace and the brotherhood and the happiness, but at the same time, he's not wrong about, peril and strife causing great art.
No, he's not at all. And that's what's so conflicting about this movie. And maybe I misunderstood it, but like he's a farmer, like he kind of, how would you word it? I'm not.
He's a con artist, essentially. I mean, he basically gets some black market
pharmaceuticals,
drugs,
right?
Black art, like penicillin or something like that. Some very basic drug that they really needed in Vienna, and they sold it to some hospitals that were in desperate need, and it turned out to not be what he said it was. It wasn't effective, and it maimed and killed a bunch of children.
Yeah. So then he went and hid, or went and died. I don't know. You're right. It was I really liked it, and I want to watch it again, and I can't wait till time frees up and I can, especially when I get my TV fixed. I've been saying that since February.
Yeah.
We're in August. Shit just can't stop going wrong here. 2020 is a fun year. Oh, man. But I'm glad we watched it, so at least now it's on my radar. I can say I've seen it, but I haven't experienced it. But I could tell it's great, and I can't wait to go back to it. I just don't know why this doesn't get mentioned along with Citizen Kane and Vertigo and Godfather and all. Like, I really had never heard of this movie until it popped up on Flickchart last week.
I think most people associate this as a British film, because it's called one of the greatest British movies of all time, and that's based off of Carol Reed. Having directed it, I guess, and so that may be why, is that people consider it an international movie. So, and we tend to be more America focused when we talk about the greatest movies of all time.
Fair enough. And if you haven't seen it, it is really worth checking out. We should make a list of movies that they should really go back in. I mean, obviously you got the main ones, but the ones that you don't think of that you should go back and try.
Like this and Peeping Tom,
Blow Up.
Yeah, Blow Up.
That's just off the top of our head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie. I'm glad we got to watch it, and I can't wait to go back. And this is one where I definitely will. All right.
And I know people are going to fight. There are traditionalists who are going to argue with me on this. I rank Midsummer just next to those movies, honestly. I do. I rank Midsummer. I know it's recent, and I know we have this bias against recency. We have this bias against movies that came out in the last 2 years because we haven't had enough time to assess them. Fuck you. Midsummer's that good.
But that's what's so great about that is what's great about these movies is you don't have a studio saying, no, let's think of how can we make more money. It's that Gremlins 2 sketch that Key and Peele did. I mean, obviously that's overboard, but this couldn't work today because they wouldn't let it play out the way it should. And Midsummer too. If someone sat there and tried to commercialize that movie, it would suck. You get to see a director's full vision, and a director knows what they're doing with a cast that knows what they're doing in all of these movies. Tarantino gets away with it. That's why his movies are so great. Yeah. Spike Lee, we're gonna get to him in a little bit. Same kind of thing. To an extent. I mean, he had his old boy moment. It's a different one for him.
Literally.
And that wasn't his fault. That was the studio. I mean, he shouldn't have never done it. That was just a stupid idea on his part. But regardless, the studio gets involved. And and that's why I think it's fair to put Midsummer up there. And, a lot of these A24 movies in the conversation, you don't got to put them next to them, but you can put them up in the, in the all-time classics that are only being overlooked because of the era we're in, and there's so much content to consume. No, I agree with you completely. Let's move on to Spike Lee then, while we're talking about directors who get full control of their vision. Mo Better Blues.
The 1990 Mo Better Blues stars Denzel Washington as Bleek Gilliam, a trumpet player, a rather famous one, who plays at a New York nightclub and is living basically off of his legendary recordings, but does make money doing this. Would like to make more, but he's got a manager played by Spike Lee. Giant is his name, and Giant's kind of a fuck up who's not really doing his part on that front. He's got a band, the Bleek Gilliam band, and in that group is Shadow Henderson, played by Wesley Snipes, who may or may not be his equal as a player, but has not really had his opportunity or taken his opportunity to step forward. Although lately he's been, according to the story, he's been kind of stepping up and doing like these really lengthy solos that kind of interrupt everybody else and kind of shines a light on himself. And Wesley Snipes is great at playing those kind of arrogant characters as we've seen so many times in his career. And he plays this one really well, to the point where he's got a moment late in the movie where he kind of turns and becomes a better person, and you're like, yeah, that I buy that, and it was really awesome. So the story plays out that Bleek has these two women, Clark and Indigo. Indigo is played by Joey Lee, Spike's sister, and he's kind of stringing them both along. He's sleeping with both of them, and even to the point where we have this rather cliched scene of them both showing up at the nightclub, and they're both wearing the same dress that he bought for each of them. And that doesn't play out as necessarily as cliched because it's Spike and he's really clever about it. But we've seen that scene before. It plays out that they're both going to end up dumping him, and it's all because he's just obsessed with music. But the thing about it that runs through this, and as much as the movie loves music and the movie, it celebrates the blues and jazz, it's a sort of a joyless thing for Bleek himself. He doesn't really necessarily seem to enjoy music. He was forced to do it as a kid. His mom kept him from his friends, forced him to practice every day, and when he grows up, he plays incredibly well, but he doesn't play really with any joy. He's just kind of stock straight and playing with almost like an intensity of that borders on like pain, like that kind of religion where people flog themselves. Like that seems to be almost his approach here. Is just this painful approach to making music, to the point where he obsesses about it constantly. He practices 8 hours a day, and he won't let these women talk to him when he's practicing. He's so focused he can just tune out anything that they're doing or saying while he's practicing and coming up with new songs. But there is no joy to it. He doesn't seem to have any kind, and Spike doesn't underline that in any way. You have to perceive that from Denzel's performance, and that's what I perceived from it, is that he didn't enjoy this. And that's what makes the ending of this movie so interesting to me, is that at a certain point he loses his ability to play, and for a very specific reason, and he has to kind of decide what he's going to do with his life now, and he finally makes a big decision, and his life goes on from there to get him better. And I really like that. I really like this movie a lot. I don't think it's necessarily one of Spike's best. It doesn't have the anger or that vibrancy that makes Spike Lee so memorable from like 25th Hour or Do the Right Thing. But in terms of it, just kind of an experimental movie that's about unique characters that kind of very reminiscent of She's Gotta Have It. They don't make movies like this anymore about that are just so desperately character driven, as opposed to, there's no plot. It's just what these characters do and how they interact with each other. And movies don't get made like that anymore. Yeah,
this is the type of, like, Denzel's won, he won an Oscar for Training Day, and I like the movie okay, but I'm like, really? It's a movie like this where, really he's the best part of it. his performance. I would be okay something more small like this winning an Oscar than something like Training Day, because he really does drive this movie. This is a follow-up to Do the Right Thing, so I think it's a good choice to just kind of do something completely different and not try to compete with Do the Right Thing. I do believe some critics at the time had a hard time separating the two. I watched Roger and Ebert, whatever. I forgot their names.
Siskel
and Ebert. I was thinking of Roper. Anyway, Siskel and Ebert, they liked it, but all they did is say bad things before they gave it a thumbs up. So it was, and it was basically, it wasn't Do the Right Thing. So that was, and I mean, they didn't like the way the music was used, and they didn't like the interaction between the bandmates. And I don't disagree with them, but at the same time, it's not, it doesn't affect the movie really. I just, to me, the performances, who's the other girl in it? She's really good too.
I don't know her name off the top of my head.
Her and Denzel are phenomenal in this movie, and to me, that's really what. And I agree with you. Your take on it, you know, it's more of a. I mean, I can't even say it better than you did. The whole flogging is the perfect.
Cinda Williams plays Clark.
Her and Denzel are just awesome in this movie, and it's just really it's neat. It's one. I mean, you can go back to Spike Lee, and it's hard to find something that's bad. I will recommend staying away from Old Boy, but I also hate. I mean, he shouldn't have to put his name on it. Yeah. Either. But I don't know. He doesn't really make bad movies. If nothing else, he makes polarizing movies that make you think. And I guess if you hate it, it's not because it's bad. It's just because you're a dick. Other than Old Boy.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, so many directors have no voice. They have no perspective. Not to make everything about Hamilton, but it's like Spike Lee is kind of an Alexander Hamilton in that way, where he'll state his opinion and state it very clearly and almost angrily. And so many other directors are Aaron Burr, who just can't make up their mind. They just kind of do what they think everybody is going to like and try not to make any waves. And I love that about Spike.
Yeah. But at the same time, a lot of people aren't allowed to be Hamilton. They have to be Aaron Burr because of the studios. But then sometimes you see Aaron Burr as a total predator, and you're just like, okay, then. Seems like a lot of those directors are the ones that keep getting called out.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I think you should go check out Mo Better Blues, or anything Spike Lee's done, with the exception of Old Boy. I think you'll get something out of it.
I think it's funny about Mo Better Blues is that I don't know necessarily that I would have liked this 30 years ago or even 20 years ago, but now, having been exposed to so much mainstream Hollywood and just so many dead-end action movies and brainless comedies or horror movies, something like this is just such a welcome change of pace because it is just so different than everything else, and I just love that now.
Yeah, I feel like what's happened is, every decade you have to switch people out. But since like the late 90s, we haven't had to do that. Adam Sandler hasn't gone away. Bruce Willis is still making movies. It's the same people from the 90s that are still doing stuff today. I mean, you're adding people here and there, but it's still Tom Cruise. It's still Brad Pitt. Yeah, Tarantino might grab him and do something great with him or whatever, but you're not getting that change of the guard at all. Will Ferrell's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So it's just hard. I'm with you. It's after seeing Midsommar, I went through a big funk where just like nobody can do this. And then at the end of the year, we got all the other A24 movies, and it was great. But you're not allowed to be like that. And and if you take a step back and look back at that time period, this was I think a strategic decision by Spike Lee to do a movie like this after Do the Right Thing, to shift, the focus, to keep his career going longer and not becoming, into a niche or a corner himself. This kind of expands what he can do. Yeah, it's not as good as Do the Right Thing, but it's still a good movie, and it's more straightforward in a Spike Lee way.
Yeah.
And it allowed him to do different things throughout his whole career because of that. And so, I mean, if you go back into that time period, I think it was kind of a smart move on his part, even if it wasn't as loved as Do the Right Thing. Let's see. Young Guns 2?
Young Guns 2 with the basically the same cast. The ones that didn't get killed in the first movie are back for this one. The idea here is that Billy the Kid has survived to an elderly age. He somehow did escape death. Didn't get shot by Pat Garrett. In fact, Pat Garrett helped him escape, and they ran off together, and they formed a new gang. But they turn Pat Garrett again, and he goes after him again, and it's so fucking stupid. This movie's terrible. It's so boring. It's so I couldn't barely sit through this. I was just so bored by the look of it, by the characters, by the just the forced attempt at charisma by Emilio Estevez. Just the way he tries to push himself to be yeehaw. It just does not feel right. It just doesn't. Nothing about this movie feels right. I just didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. The only memory I have of it as a kid was like seeing that John Bon Jovi song.
Was that from this one or the first one? I couldn't remember.
Blaze of Glory is from this one. And we had the same conversation last time. Blaze of Glory is from this movie. And I my one memory of that is that I was worried that Bon Jovi was going to break up.
Right.
Because I was a big Bon Jovi fan. That was like the only thing I could think of. I was like, why is John by himself? Where's Richie?
But it's a good song.
It's one of the better ones he's ever did, that's for sure.
Right.
And that's really that song is really the only thing that people should remember from Young Guns 2.
I mean, I'll give these movies this. If nothing else, it was a gateway into Westerns for kids. I remember everybody loved it. I didn't get it when I was younger. Like, I thought it was stupid too. But all my friends loved it, and then they moved on to Tombstone when that came out, and then Unforgiven, and then you just kind of go down that rabbit hole. I think Tombstone's the ultimate gateway drug for Westerns. But I think this gets you to Tombstone for some people, so I'll give it that credit. But in a lot of ways, it's just a Western Navy SEALs. Which, that's the time period we're in. Yeah.
And I think also when you see a bunch of Westerns after you see Young Guns, it definitely lessens the impact of Young Guns.
Once you see Once Upon a Time in the West, you're like, you know what? I mean, there is something to... it's still a Bon Jovi song, you know? It's a Bon Jovi level song in a movie. This is a Bon Jovi level movie without the success. Or maybe it did have success. I don't know. But then you watch Once Upon a Time in the West, and I'm just picking that one because that's what's on my mind. And it's just like, John Bon who? I mean, you forget all about, I don't know, you just get entranced by these movies, and it's, I don't know, I'm going through a weird period right now ever since Midsummer where like we keep having this conversation, but it's, I don't want to do Young Guns 2 anymore. I don't want to do You Should Have Left or whatever that Kevin Bacon movie was called. I just want to be blown away every time now. And it's so hard. All right. What else do we got? Metropolitan.
Metropolitan is directed by Whit Stillman and stars a relatively unknown cast today, aside from maybe Chris Eigeman. This is about an outsider who kind of hooks in with a group of really, really rich people after a party and then spends the rest of the evening with them, just kind of bantering and talking about big topics that sound exciting when you're young and rich in New York. And I know that sounds like reductive, and it doesn't sound like it would be that interesting, especially today. But I find these characters to be erudite and interesting, and especially Chris Eigeman is. I thought at the time when I saw Chris Eigeman, I thought he was going to be a star. I really did. I thought he was going to be a big star because he's so funny. He's so sarcastic and kind of almost to a point of being mean. and the character he plays here, Nick Smith, is a character that I really kind of identified with, even more than like the romantic leads, because he's his own worst enemy in terms of being just too smart for everybody and like having a very strict moral code that really even he couldn't possibly live up to. And so there's like an element of being full of shit, but also being like the smartest guy in the room. And I've always appreciated that kind of character. And that's why I enjoyed this movie. I enjoy him a lot.
I didn't watch this one. Sorry. But yeah, I guess
it's a Criterion Collection release, so that got that going for it. Actually, so is Mo Better Blues, actually. And The Third Man.
Not Young Guns 2. It is on Bon Jovi's greatest hits.
An equally great honor.
Next week, we've got a lot more than we do this week, thankfully. Maybe. I guess I haven't seen any of them. You have. She Dies Tomorrow. I used to go here, and I don't know if you have a chance to see it or not, but American Pickle comes out on HBO with the Seth Rogen movie. He's been doing the rounds on that, so I'm going to try to watch that. So if you have the ability to, I'll let you know.
All right.
When that comes out, I think Friday. So hopefully I have a chance to watch all this. I have another tournament. It's my daughter's birthday, so I'm going to do the best I can to see as much as I can.
You gotta see She Dies Tomorrow.
I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Stop right there. But.
More than anything else, that's what will be watched. Our classic is Chinatown because Two Jakes, the shitty sequel, turns 30 this week. 30 years, this week, along with Air America and Flatliners. So, I mean, I feel like I remember liking Air America as a kid, but I just feel like Young Guns 2, Navy SEALs.
Yep, I got that same feeling, but I'm more about Flatliners because we did Flatliners not all that long ago.
Right. Yeah.
Not that I have to watch it again because we watched it then. So.
Right, we could just reference that episode that we don't know where it's at or what episode it was. Sure, we could figure it out by then. All right, but that is what's going on next week. Before we play Flick Chart, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. CriticsPod is the handle. Patreon.com/critics, the best way to help support the podcast. And then at our website, IHateCritics.net or everyone's-a-critic-podcast.com, there's a TeePublic page up in the right-hand corner. Click on that to get yourself some merch. We actually sold a Willem Dafoe shirt.
What?
So, yeah.
Wow, nice.
I get every time I get someone sells something, I get a receipt for it.
Cool.
My guess is we probably know who it is, but I haven't confirmed it. But I'd imagine somebody we know bought it. I don't know who, but I have like a list of 5 or 6 people it could be.
Good for them. I mean, really, truly, whoever you are, good for you.
Once I get my TV fixed, I'm going to get myself one. So. All right. The Addams Family, 1991, or 13 Ghosts?
Addams Family.
Agreed. All right. Donnie Brasco, Dennis the Menace.
Donnie Brasco.
There's some inspiring movies this morning. Shanghai Nights, Native Son.
I don't know what Native Son is.
Came out in 2019. Shanghai Nights, Source Code.
Source Code.
My Girl, City of God.
City of God. Great movie.
My Girl, okay movie. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Bewitched, 2002.
Lock, Stock.
Agreed. Mad Max, Fury Road, Speed.
Mad Max.
Yeah. Although Speed was my first Mad Max. I loved that movie as a kid. Twilight Saga, The New Moon, High Tension.
High Tension. Which one? Is that French horror movie?
Yeah. With, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, and what's the other one?
Twilight, New Moon.
Fuck me. I hate both those movies. So Fishing with Gandhi.
I'll go Twilight because High Tension I was enjoying for a while, and then he was just like, this guy fell off the rails and doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, no, I hate that guy.
And he hasn't done anything good since, or really ever.
Yeah.
Mission to Mars, Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Mission to Mars. And Mission to Mars is a terrible movie, so...
Yeah, this is just a boring flick show. Weekend at Bernie's, Patch Adams.
Movie about a dead guy and a movie that's just dead. Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah. This is probably the two best movies we've heard yet today. Hancock, Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, because Wesley Snipes is having so much fun.
Yeah. God damn it.
If Hancock were like 40 minutes shorter, it'd be better.
Yeah, about halfway through, it just kind of was like, it started out so good, and then it just kind of lost. That's Peter Berg for you, though.
Yeah.
Casper, Child's Play.
Fuck. Casper? I hate Child's Play.
I'm going to flip it just because it lasts. I can't find the quarter, so Casper wins. Just trying to make this interesting, and there's nothing. Finally, here we go. Black Swan, Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian.
Black Swan. I love Black Swan.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Royal Tenenbaums.
Ooh, that is a good one. Cuckoo's Nest all the way, but I love Tenenbaums.
Agreed. Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Mystic River. Finally, we're getting some challenges here.
That is challenging because those are two really great movies, and Winter Soldier is so damn entertaining, whereas Mystic River can be kind of a slog. As great as it is, it's tough to punch through that one sometimes. If I was going to watch one, I'm watching Winter Soldier.
Man, I think you're right, but I think I like Mystic River better. I will flip it just for fun because I found the quarter, and Captain America, The Winter Soldier is the winner. I mean, if anything, it's some of those newer Eastwood movies that affect my opinion of Mystic River. Collateral, Deadpool.
Ooh,
it's like three good ones in a row here.
I know. Damn, because Deadpool is so good, but fucking Collateral's Collateral.
I know. I feel like I'd watch Deadpool first, but I think Collateral's better.
I think so. I got to go Collateral. I think it's just a better movie.
Yeah, even though I would watch it, Deadpool first, I'm going Collateral as well. Love Actually, End of Days.
Love Actually.
Arachnophobia, Capote.
Capote.
Yes. Amelie, Charlie Wilson's War.
Amelie.
Agreed. The Blind Side, Little Nicky.
The Blind Side. As much as I hate that movie, it's better than Little Nicky.
The Fast and the Furious, Shrek.
Ooh, that is tough. That's tough for me. I mean, those are two really good movies for me. Shrek.
Oh, wow. I had the coin ready to go. Shrek for me as well. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Blackfish.
Ooh, again, I mean, two very, very different movies, but I can't watch Blackfish ever again. Hunger Games.
What was Blackfish? I know I've seen it.
It's a documentary about murdering animals, murdering fish, dolphins, whales.
Yeah, I remember now. Home Alone 3, Sabotage. I haven't seen Sabotage. What is that? 1936.
Oh, yeah, Sabotage. Yeah, that's a spy thriller. I think it's Hitchcock. Early Hitchcock.
So better than Home Alone 3?
Yeah, I would say so.
The Dark Knight, Lucky Number 11.
The Dark Knight.
Agreed.
But Slevin is such a good movie.
Yeah, it's not a fair comparison. White Men Can't Jump, Hollywoodland.
I feel like Hollywoodland got lost in everybody hating Ben Affleck.
Right.
I think Hollywoodland's a really great movie, and I'm going to go with that.
This is one where I'm struggling, where I think I'd watch White Men Can't Jump, but I feel like if I watched it, it won't hold up.
Go with your instinct, man.
Oh, we'll flip it. I mean, I'm with you too. I liked a lot of what Ben Affleck was doing during that time, but everybody just hated him. That wasn't fair. White man can't jump on the coin flip. I feel bad. The Bourne Ultimatum, Rock and Rolla.
Bourne Ultimatum.
Agreed. The Big Short, Amadeus.
Ooh, that's so good. I gotta go Amadeus because that movie means so much to me.
Amadeus is better. The Big Short is like, I'll watch that again first, and it hits me on all the right spots. But Amadeus is a masterpiece.
It's a top 10 movie all time for me.
And The Big Short really matters to this era. You know, it's kind of like All the President's Men for that era. I feel like in 20 years we won't look at it like, well, it was good, but Dirty Harry, Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
Michael Clayton, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life.
Michael Clayton.
Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Shaft, 2000.
Hunger Games all the way.
This is so weird. Analyze This, Requiem for a Dream.
Now I want you to imagine these movies at the same movie. Let's combine those two. Oh, what a twisted thought. Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, this is, I'll never watch the movie again unless it's a classic or it turns 30. And Analyze This, I will probably watch again at some point, but no. Requiem for a Dream is definitely a better movie. Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, Shoot 'Em Up.
Shoot 'Em Up.
Iron Man 2, Ghost World.
Man. Ghost World.
I agree, although I do like Iron Man 2.
I do too.
Paranormal Activity, Babe.
Babe.
Agreed. Flubber, American History X.
American History X.
You're having that Analyze This, Requiem for a Dream mashup, aren't you, with Flubber and American History X? Oh, man.
Because I want to see Flubber just used to bash somebody's face into a street
curb.
Into a curb, yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, The Constant Gardener.
The Constant Gardener, that's a hell of a movie.
Hell of a movie with a terrible name.
Yeah.
Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, or A View to Kill.
Lemony Snicket.
Yeah. Tombstone, Arachnophobia.
Tombstone.
Agreed. National Lampoon's European Vacation, Psycho, 1998.
God damn it. I think even The Imitation of Psycho is better than National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah. Accepted, Clueless.
You know, Accepted's a really like a guilty pleasure for me. Not that I would pick it over Clueless. I would definitely pick Clueless, but Accepted is one of those movies that I really enjoyed when I saw it. I've gone back to it a couple times. It's not like you wouldn't a traditionally good movie, but it's so good natured. Just Jonah Hill is so funny in that movie.
Yeah.
the young Jonah Hill, and then Justin Long played that kind of Bugs Bunny character that I always love in movies like that. He's the party starter and I like it. I like it.
Whatever happened to Justin Long? He just pops up in the occasional Kevin Smith movie.
He's an interesting character. I think he's got a podcast now, like everybody else.
Yeah. That's pretty good. The Road Warrior, Monsters versus Aliens.
Monsters versus Aliens for me.
Yeah, as much as I want to like The Road Warrior, I'm forcing myself to even give it that much. Rush Hour 3, Best in Show.
Best in Show.
Bad Boys 2, Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. Man, I hate Bad Boys. Oh, I hate that movie.
The Hard Way, 13 Ghosts.
The Hard Way, kind of reluctantly.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs, Hunt for Red October.
Not bad. Not bad. I really think Hunt for Red October is actually incredibly underrated. But I got to go with Silence of the Lambs, obviously.
Yeah. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Notting Hill.
Harry Potter.
I don't really have a horse in that race, so that's fine. White Men Can't Jump, You've Got Mail.
White Men Can't Jump.
Creed, Gladiator, True Romance.
True Romance.
Yep. Transformers, From Hell.
From Hell.
That's good. That's the next.
Those two movies
that's
very easily.
The next Transformers movie.
All Transformers movies are from hell.
Although I thought the Bumblebee was okay.
Oh, okay, fine. I don't really count that one, but okay.
That is kind of adjacent. American Wedding, I Am Sam.
American Wedding.
Yeah.
I Am Sam is just fucking embarrassing.
Yes, it is. The Social Network, Lady in the Water.
The Social Network.
Love that movie. A Knight's Tale, Sin City.
Sin City.
The Net, You've Got Mail.
The Net.
Two movies you
combine those two movies very easily.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Bowfinger.
Guardians, although Bowfinger is a hell of a movie.
Yeah, it's that weird Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin movie that when they were making shitty movies, it was actually pretty good. E.T., Angels in the Outfield, 94.
E.T.
The Truman Show, From Paris with Love.
Truman Show.
Yep. The Lincoln Lawyer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
The Lincoln Lawyer.
Yes, Capote, North by Northwest.
North by Northwest.
Agreed. The Fly, Stuart Little.
Now I want to combine those movies.
Kind of the same movie in some ways.
The Fly.
Yeah, Kiss Kiss, Bang Bang, Tenacious D, and The Pick of Destiny.
That's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang easily. Again, top 20 movie all time.
Oh, yeah. Richie Rich, Changeling with the 2008 one.
Changeling.
The Vow, Rudy.
Sorry, it's taking me a minute to remember what The Vow is.
2012. I can reset it. It looks
Channing
like
Tatum, is it?
Looks like Rachel McAdams, maybe. I can't really see from the. I'm afraid to accidentally click on it, but I guess I hate Rudy too, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Rudy's fine.
I hate Rudy though. Just end it there. Rudy sucks.